enabled. WazirX and CNBC TV18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future.
Hello and welcome to this special series WazirX and CNBC TV18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future. I am now joined by Saurabh Gupta, who's co-founder Tamasha.live. And Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us. Well, it has been a crazy 2021. We've seen numbers, whether it has been about cryptocurrencies, online gaming, the advent of metaverse, Web 3.0. Just so much happened in 2021. How do you look back at the year?
So firstly, thank you, Manisha, for having me here, and it's a pleasure to be a part of such an amazing series powered by WazirX. And so talking about 2021, I think this has been a very exciting year in terms of crypto awareness, right? So I think in India, crypto has actually reached to masses. Like recently, I did a visit, to a small town and realized that a lot of people, in small towns of the country are actually investing in crypto, right? So it actually, it has created some awareness. Right now, the coming years would be around adoption as well as, the implementation of technology with crypto promise, right? So has been quite an exciting year. Like nobody was talking about NFTs before, right now people know about it and people have been buying it, right? No one knew about metaverse, and right now it has become a common word, right? So, a lot of learning and awareness, in this year.
Oh, well, absolutely. Let's talk some numbers now, Saurabh. And you are so deep into gaming, and that is a trend that really seems to be picking up right now. I was reading a report which says that in 2019, there were 37 billion people, the work that was being done here. And the expectation is that by 2025, it's going to be 122 billion. Where do we stand right now in sense of global numbers, and what has been the Indian growth in last 1 year?
Right. So I think for India, gaming gaming has been there, but it has started maturing for the last couple of years. And COVID has actually boosted the growth of gaming industry in India. And some of the interesting models like real money gaming has actually scaled up the growth. We have seen so many companies, turning into unicorns in the last 2-3 years, like MPL, Dream 11, a few of them. Right. So, and still early days, even, Reliance, Mukesh Ambani said that gaming is a sleeping giant in India, and it is going to be much bigger than, the Bollywood industry, the broadcasting industry, the radio, everything combined. Right. So it is that kind of a potential and quite exciting in early days. And interestingly, mobile has actually made it possible to take gaming mainstream. Before that, it was restricted to certain Western countries because gaming was accessible through laptops or costly PCs. And right now, I think gaming has actually gone mainstream, and there are a lot of interesting monetization avenues that will open up in the coming years.
Absolutely. Saurabh, I've played so many games, but you've never taken anything home yet in sense of money, There's no earnings out of it. But that concept absolutely changed. It's play to earn that really start building up in this year. Where do you see those numbers stand right now?
So I think play to earn has come up as a very interesting and innovative model in the gaming space. And XZ Gaming is one of an example. So it's a Vietnam-based gaming company. And it's like, so in gaming, there are two kind of people, right? The people who basically put in a lot of hours, right? And put in a lot of effort in playing games. And then people who can quickly buy things, right? And play to earn actually is giving opportunity for people who are ready to give in their hours, playing games, to turn it into real money, turn it into a decent, sustainable income, right? And interestingly, in a lot of these developing countries, people are actually taking loan to play games and create, businesses around it, right? To create a regular income around it. And play to earn as something, which has been a very, very innovative model. So I'll quickly explain the model. Let's say there is a game and you have a character, which is at level 1, and you play the game and you evolve it to level 10. And there are people out there who are actually ready to buy your character at level 10, right? And pay more. So this way there is a, basically a lot of value, real value, which is being generated by these gamers and players who are putting in a lot of hours, and that can be converted into real money, right? So it definitely has a lot of potential in a lot of developing countries, specifically in India. And I think India is yet to see, India is yet to see the next XZ gaming, so a lot of hopes for the coming years.
Tell me, when we talk about India, I know there's a category of players here. One, people who want to play for free. Two is, as you said, you pay a price, you buy a game. And third is, as you said, there's all this earning that's now coming in for as well. Do you think it is the blockchain, it is the cryptocurrency advent that has changed it all?
Right. So I think blockchain has definitely, helped, in evolving the gaming industry in India, and these are very early days, as I said. So how blockchain comes there, right? So basically, if there is a game, right, and you take a character, you can actually have ownership with that character, right? You can create an NFT around it, and you can sell it in an open market, right? So things that were not possible. So initially, the gaming assets that were there, that were not interoperable, that had no value outside the game, right? So let's say if you buy a skin in PUBG, right? If you buy a nice clothes or a sword in PUBG, you won't be able to take it outside PUBG, right? But what blockchain has done is you can create, NFTs out of it, and you can sell it in open market, and you can utilize it in multiple games, right? And that is the future of gaming. It's interoperable, where you buy virtual products and you use it everywhere, right? And you have the true ownership of that. And that is how blockchain industry has been helping in gaming industry and in taking it more mainstream.
Saurabh, let's talk about money yet again here. And what is the kind of growth that you see in last couple of years? And as in sense of fees, how much are the gamers raking in right now?
So in terms of the gaming industry in India, the main revenue source for the gaming has been real money, right? And we have seen like in the last year, the gaming industry grew by more than 50%, which is, I think, more than most of the industries out there, right? So it's one of the fastest growing industry in India. And a lot of gamers in fantasy poker have been minting millions, right? But I think play to earn is a gaming format that is still to go mainstream in India, and we'll see that how much people are making, in India, and there is still yet to, we have yet to see that how these games like XZ gaming perform in India, right? So, it's still early days.
Oh, absolutely. So I was reading somewhere that online real money game players were 80 million in 2020 and can be 150 million in 2023. Clearly, these projections are mind-boggling. But also tell me, when it comes about real money players, how much of a spend are we really looking at? What is the total industry looking like? Are you putting out any projections of your own?
So I personally feel that, so currently the gaming industry has been around a couple of billion, like more than $1 billion in India. But as we see this ecosystem opens up, right, as it goes more mainstream, and I think a lot of projections depends on the regulation, right? So recently, we saw that in Karnataka, real money gaming has got banned, and in Gujarat, there are discussions, right? So a lot depends on how the government takes it, right? Do they see it as a interesting opportunity, an industry that can go big, or does the government, restrict it, from scaling up? So it depends totally on that. So if things starts opening up, I would say the sky's the limit. Like as a lot of people say that it would be much larger than all the other industries in the media space combined, right? But if it becomes the hold of regulations, then definitely it would take some time for the gaming industry to grow. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like various other things within the blockchain industry, there is a lot of do's and don'ts that all products and markets are waiting for. And this perhaps is yet another segment which is also looking forward to that. But with that, we'll wait for a very short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the overall funding that the gaming industry has seen. And we'll also talk about more about Web 3.0, Metaverse, on what these technologies can do for the gaming industry after this short break.
WazirX and CNBC TV18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future. WazirX and CNBC TV18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future.
Welcome back. We are in conversation with Saurabh Gupta, co-founder Tamasha.live. Saurabh, hi. We've spoken about the kind of earning that this sector has and the kind of spend that we are seeing within gaming now. Would you say that there's a different economy now evolving within the space?
Right. Definitely, I think, so recently you must have heard a lot about metaverse, right? And how the metaverse differs from the real world is that everything which is there, it's virtual, right? So there is a lot of value that is being generated from virtual objects, right? So you must have heard that people are buying plots and lands and restaurants in the virtual spaces, right? So there is a new economy, a parallel economy that is being created in the virtual world, where the entire gratification of people, is in the virtual space. So rather than people buying a BMW, which is, worth 3 crores, people would actually, showcase or get gratification from virtual objects. You can see that there is no limit to it, right? You can actually create huge value out of a lot of things, that you see in the real world, but you can find them in the real virtual world as well. So recently, giving an example, Nike acquired a company that is into NFT and that create virtual shoes, right? So a lot of these mainstream companies are actually replicating their goods or services that they provide in the real world in the virtual space to not lag behind, right? So, and this is a parallel economy that is being created, right? So has a huge potential, right?
Also talk to me about, 2021 as a year has seen a lot of changes come in here. How would you look at the funding part of this as well? Because we did see money flow into various blockchain projects here. How much has the gaming garnered that kind of money?
In terms of gaming, I think for the last 3 years, VCs have been very aggressive in terms of investment. And a lot of companies have actually grown so quickly because of that. There has been a huge investment in a lot of companies in the real money gaming space, in social gaming space. Right. But talking about the Web 3.0 or, crypto-based games, I think like 2021 has been a year where people have actually, VCs have started investing and considering this as a space to invest in, right? So I recently, read an interview of Polygon founder, and they told, and he was telling that, like when he was reaching out to VCs in India, and they were saying that, what are you working on? And is this something which is regulated, legal, and how much, impact would it have? Right. But right now, you would see that most of the VCs in India are open up, to invest in, crypto, Web 3.0, and also Web 3.0 based applications in the gaming industry. Right.
Clearly. So, much of the growth in the last 1 year, this year, that is in 2021, came in because it was COVID, it was pandemic, people were home, they were exploring new things. And it just happened to be that this sector also it saw exponential gains there. Do you see this kind of a growth momentum continuing in 2022?
So, yeah, I think, COVID has, the impact of COVID and the lockdown is not short term. It has actually changed habit of people in the long term, right? So if you see that even when, lockdown got opened, people are not going to cinemas, as frequently as they used to go before, right? So it has actually changed habits of people in a longer term. They have changed their lifestyle, right? So I think the kind of a growth which COVID has given, because of COVID, the gaming industry has grown. It won't be short term because people have started staying more, in the virtual space. People have started spending more time in gaming and social network, and that would increase over the time, right? So I don't think that COVID or something was a short-term thing for the gaming industry. I think it has created a long-term impact.
Also talk to me about the cryptocurrencies itself. There has been a lot of buying there. Would you say that when it comes to this gaming on blockchain, having crypto is perhaps an underlying, requirement here?
Right. So I think, crypto in the gaming space is quite interesting in the sense that if you, talk about DeFi, right? So the vision around DeFi is that, replacing the real world financial institute, over blockchain, right? So instead of banks, instead of, finance and loans, everything should be, over the blockchain, right? But that is something where governments or centralized institutions comes in and they say that this is something which should be stopped, right? Like government when they would regulate cryptocurrencies, they would actually stop people from transacting real value things, in crypto, right? They can keep it as an asset, right? But in the gaming industry, everything is virtual, right? So I think gaming has much more space, in the crypto space to grow and go mainstream, right? And I personally feel that gaming would be the first, industry, that would make crypto mainstream, right? Because all the assets, all the virtual gold, all your gratification is in the virtual space. It's not interacting, with the real space. So it won't, create a lot of, issues in terms of regulations and other things, right? So that is something which is a beauty of, crypto or the blockchain in the gaming space, right? And secondly, I think, since a lot of these virtual economy is already been, so right now people have been buying stuff, right, on the cryptos, NFTs and things like that. Eventually, as the gaming experience evolves, these NFTs would be the gateway to the metaverse, right? People would actually utilize these NFTs in these virtual spaces, right? So right now people are buying, people are exploring, people are getting aware of these things. Eventually, as the technology infrastructure grows, people can actually experience these things and better utilize it, right? So a lot of potential to grow.
Saurabh, so what you're saying is that there is one way to do this is you buy cryptos and NFTs and virtual plots. The other way to get or access all of this is you start playing a game and you start acquiring all of this.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So as I said that, there is a place for both kind of people who have money to spend, on this, and there is a space for people who can spend their time, right, and create value with their time, right? So definitely there is a, value for all kind of people, right?
Right. So while, of course, 2021 did start with a lot of things and we saw huge investments come into this market, how is the next year looking to you now? What kind of growth, what kind of regulations, what are the things that you will want to keep an eye on?
Right. So I think next year would be quite interesting. People are waiting for the bill, and see that what's there for the people, right? So I think that would actually decide a lot about how the crypto industry would grow, over the time in India. And secondly, I think a lot of projects are there that are in a very, very early stage, but they are very highly valued, right? So there would be, a lot of investment going on there. But I think somewhere down the line, people would start seeing that, where they are investing money, what is the value that, is giving to them, right? So there would be a correction, which I feel in the next year. And after that, it will keep on growing. The companies with strong fundamental, companies which are building for the future, companies which are creating some kind of a value, from the blockchain would actually would remain and would see, growth in the coming years.
Saurabh, before the show, as you were telling me that metaverse is, instead of watching a Netflix, you are in Netflix. That is the kind of change it would bring about into the markets there. So when you talk about gaming and when you talk about metaverse, while of course a lot is being said, written and done, would you say that we still are scratching the surface here, and to actually reach the space where all of this starts to yielding money is still some time away?
Right. So definitely, I think it would take probably 5 to 10 years, an optimistic view, to reach, to get those kind of experience where you are actually living in the internet, right? And I think a lot of companies that are coming up, they are building pieces for that, right? So some are creating, interoperability in the blockchain. Some are creating, different kind of, products and solutions for the metaverse. A lot of interesting and innovative companies are coming up, and eventually, it will combine to build something really cool, right? So I think currently, there is still a lot of technology infrastructure that is yet to be built, right? And there won't be just one metaverse or a single metaverse. There would be series of metaverse, And these metaverse would be driven by communities, right? So let's say, Facebook would have a metaverse that would be much more centralized, right? Because I would not say that like Facebook would eventually move very aggressively in the Web 3.0, because they have been controlling the data of people, and for them it would be very difficult to change as an institute, right? So they will have a more centralized metaverse with very high experiences. There were amazing team of scientists who are working to create amazing experiences. And then there is something like Decentraland, who are creating community-owned metaverses, right? Where people truly own those virtual spaces, virtual objects, and things like that, right? So I think over the coming years, a lot of companies will come, a lot of companies will go away, but with time, it will accumulate to something very cool and interesting.
Saurabh, one last question before we wrap this up. And what would your advice be to the gaming enthusiasts as we step into the new year?
Right. So I would say, not just to the gaming enthusiasts, but to their parents as well, that, they feel that gaming is something, it's something, that wastes their time or doesn't add any value. I think gaming is a very interesting industry to get into at this point of time, right? Because you have the entire playbook to do a lot of interesting stuff, to build a lot of cool things that people can use, right? And so I think it's a great time for people to get into gaming, and not just so there is a space for all kind of people, for developers who can build amazing stuff, for people there is a space for even players. So if you are really good in PUBG, if you see your son playing PUBG all day, he can be an esports player, right? Who can be like who can be a parallel to Sachin Tendulkar, right? In cricket. So I think definitely people who are early in their career want to do something interesting, that is the future, like try gaming.
Saurabh, I don't know how many parents like you right now, because you have an advice for parents. Hey parents, gaming is good for your children is something Saurabh is telling us for 2022. Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. We appreciate your time.
WazirX and CNBC TV18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.